Rod Sowden, and I just want to have a quick conversation with you about a couple of topics that you're going to cover on this course. First of all, quality management. Well, what is it? Well, quality is about defining what you want at the outset and making sure that's what you get at the end. And there's some stages on the way where you can check that it's going to be what you want it to be. So the concepts that are involved in that are quality planning, which is the overarching how do you get from not having something to having something that you need. And as part of that, you'd be thinking about the features that you want, the colour of it, or whatever it happens to be. The next step in a process is what we call quality assurance, which is the ongoing checking. Yeah. So if you imagine somebody's in the kitchen cooking a meal, you've got the cook and you've got the chef, and the chef will be checking that the cook's doing it properly. So that's kind of assurance that's going on. And then ultimately we've got quality control, which is an external review of what's happening. So I suppose if we're talking about cooking meals, the external quality control ultimately with the person that eats the meal. Go, yep, that's up to scratch. I asked for fish and chips and that's what I got. So that's quality control. Okay, and then finally we've got the concept of continual improvement. So if we bring it into the program project world, we want to be continually getting better. All right, so we might, for example, look at a process like risk. So from a quality planning perspective, we want to say we make sure we pick up all the risks and that they're being managed effectively. From an assurance point of view, you might have monthly health checks on the risk register to check nothing's been missed. Quality control, you might bring somebody in to do a health check who's done a project like this before and said, yep, you've missed this risk. And then finally, continual improvement is about how we actually improve the process. Ensure our logs are accurate, that are we doing more than we need, are we doing less than need, trying to use things like lean systems, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's basically quality management in the project and program world. The other area is information and knowledge, and as we're living in the digital age, this has become more and more significant as we've gone forward over the years. So thinking about, there's three types of information, three types to consider. You've got the data, is all the stuff you're collecting. That gets processed, and hopefully we end up with information that we can use to make our decisions and control the project. And then finally we've got knowledge, which is what we do with that information to develop a greater understanding of how things work. Okay, so some concepts that you'll be covering on the course. When we're thinking about information, we're thinking about confidentiality. We've got to think about making sure only the right people can see it. We've got personal data compliance issues around that we all have to worry about nowadays. We've got to think about integrity. We see it looking at the right data, so that's where version control comes in, and making sure that you're not making decisions on out-of-date information. So that's what we mean by integrity. Availability, making sure that you can get at the information when you need it. So it's not going to take 6 months to go and mine the data out of something, that when you need to make a decision, you've got it in front of you. So that's what we call about availability. And then we've got compliance. Yeah, how long we keep the data, to provide the Data Protection Act and GDPR and all that sort of stuff to make sure that we're doing things legally. So that's compliance. And then a term we've used is currency or currentness, which is it up to date? So it might be secured in confidentially look perspective. It might be the right version. It might be available, but all the information, it might be out of date. So we've got to make sure that we're looking at the current data. Yeah, the data processing on a monthly basis is keeping it up to date. And then we talk about the thing called configuration management, which is about how we store it and how we keep records of interconnections between the data and all that kind of stuff. So hope you enjoy the course, and hope that's giving you a quick overview of what you're going to cover.